Hello, my name is Erin Bahnmaier, and I currently teach first grade in the Shawnee Mission School District in Overland Park, Kansas. And I have created this online course to be for my first graders. Now, when I think about my homepage, I wanted to make it very seamless, and that way parents and students could access the content very easily, and they weren't having to look in multiple different places or different spots on the homepage to find what they were looking for. So first I have my contact information because I feel like that's what a lot of families might be coming here for. And then I've just got some cues that they need to continue to scroll down because we know that Canvas doesn't always open up all of the content on the screen. And so they need to know that they need to keep going. I have my welcome. That way, if I have new students, they won't have to filter through all of the different content to find that welcome to class letter, along with my parent letter, our syllabus, and my alignment chart. That way, everyone has that very important information at the very beginning. But then I have some more information for students as they keep scrolling down. This unit that I've developed is week 3 out of week 5 in a much larger animals unit. So the goal is that I've already laid some expectations and some procedures with them. That way they know how to navigate this homepage, especially when I might have multiple subject types that they're going to have to filter through. So I do have just a quick little weekly directive, click on the day of the week. When you get finished, click the I'm finished button. And then I will want to have set the expectation that they should look for a specific visual or image. In this case, it's this blue square that says science, plants, and animals. That way they know that everything underneath it relates to that topic with that image. And then I have my Bitmoji down at the bottom because it's not a vital piece of information, but something that students may want to come back to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on Monday, and I'll give you a little bit of a walkthrough on this unit. Like I said, this is week 3 out of 5. And so students are working towards a learning goal where they are working on a science standard where students use materials to design a solution to a human problem by mimicking how plants and or animals use their external parts to help them survive, grow, or meet their needs. So obviously we are not going to be achieving the full scope of this. This week is really a laying the foundations week. So students are going to be gaining more information about how animals use their parts to help them survive, meet their needs, and grow. So when we go into Monday, I've taken that goal and I've made it into student simple terms as a learning target, explaining how animals use their parts to do those 3 different things, and also articulating to them a speaking and listening goal of participating in class discussions and sharing their own ideas. So right off the bat, students know exactly what they're going to need to do when they start this unit. I've also included several emojis to help them know throughout the unit and the lessons what tasks and actions they're going to need to take. Knowing that my learners are young, this simple visual cue will help tag into whatever that task or expectation is. Especially when it comes to moving on to the next page of content, knowing to click next and that they might have to scroll down to find that next button depending on what the web page happens to look like. Here you can see they're going to watch, listen, and press play on the video below. And what I did is just gave them a quick overview of what this unit was going to be about to get them thinking, get them their minds activated. And I also walked them through some of the tasks that I think might be a little more challenging for them to complete, but I'll go into that in detail when I explain my lesson. On day 1, they're just gaining a little bit more information. So they have an ed puzzle where they're just going to listen to an outside source that's talking them through animals and their different parts. And throughout the lesson, they're going to have different questions that they're going to have to answer. So as they watch, it's just going to give them a little bit more information about those animals. And as you can see here, I included click back on the Canvas tab so they'll know to look up here to get back to the lesson. Then I'm going to take that content that they learned in that ed puzzle and I'm going to do a formative assessment. It's just going to ask them a few things relating to the content that they had in that video that they completed. And here they know to stop. And then I have a button here that will take them right back to the homepage and they can either continue on to their unfinished content or work on other things within the course. So if we go to Tuesday, this is the unit that I developed completely. So I didn't start with my learning targets on this one. I just wanted to get a little bit of a thought process started with students. So as you can see, there's a listen, and then they're going to play. And I want them to think about how their eyes and the ears help them. And down here, they see that they can either submit a video or a written answer. That way they know the expectations of what the content submission should be. And then they also have those steps on how to complete the assignment. Where you see start assignment up here. After they've done that and I've gotten them thinking a little bit, I'm going to reiterate those learning expectations or those learning targets. That way they can keep in the back of their mind, why am I learning this? Why is it important to me? What do I need to know? So students are going to either watch the video here, which will link them to YouTube, or if they go directly to the Flipgrid, I also have it embedded in there because I think it's important that students have easy access to the materials that they're asking you to do. I actually have access to these books in my physical classroom. And so I think that having a digital option as well is something that in an online environment can really keep students engaged. So I also have the flip code here if they have trouble getting logged in. But as you can see, I've got that there. And then I've got the task that they're completing here. One thing that I thought it was also really important to do to make sure that they're engaged and that they know the expectations is I recorded my own sample response. So they know what types of things they might talk about and how they might respond to their classmates. And so in the expectations, they're going to reply to 2 classmates. And I think that getting them engaged and conversing with each other, that is going to keep them involved in the learning process and also retaining the information that I'm expecting of them. So as you can see, I also have here that they need to click back to the Canvas tab. And I have a rubric ready for them. And here I also use those emojis as visuals. That way they can think, did I do 5-star work or 1-star work? What have I done to make sure that I've done the things that my teacher is looking for to know that I understand this content and I've met the expectations of the assignment? So I think that having that visual right there on the assignment page for them can be really beneficial when they're going to complete this activity. This is the same assignment, except for animals here, like we had on the last one, it's going to be animal C. And what I did is I made it a Flipgrid as well, but instead of making it the read aloud, I selected a few different animals from the Animal Eyes book of the same type. And now I'm asking them to compare and really apply how those eyes function. Why is it important for that animal? And how might you use that specific function? Thinking about my end learning goal. Think about a human situation and apply how animal parts help animals and apply it to the human situation. So it's really getting them thinking about, well, how might a human use these? What might a human have that might be similar? So when we get to that final piece of designing a solution, they've already kind of started thinking about how animals use those parts and how we might apply it as humans to human situations. And here they also have that rubric again. And so I'm going to use these assessments to not only gauge engagement and collaboration and participation, but also based on the content and how they're applying. The first one was a little more broad and just kind of gathering information. And this one's going to be more specific. How are they applying that information? And from there, if I notice that students maybe need some more support or have some understandings, or maybe aren't applying the content in the way I had intended, I can pull small groups or start a discussion and get just kind of some intervention put in place early on. And once again, students know to stop and to return home. Now, the rest of these lessons in this unit are all building off of that same learning target and those same student learning outcomes. So what I've done is I've just taken some more content and I've included different resources. For example, students are going to use the tool Pebble Go, which is a source of research information. So they can come in here, they can click on different kinds of animals to conduct their research. And then they're going to need to go to Google Slides and they're going to record some of that information. And so inside my welcome video, I've walked them through some of these steps and how to complete those, since they are a little bit more complex and students may not know off of the written instructions what to do. Here's where they'll upload that task. And then they know to stop. Then we continue. Thursday. Thursday is just really a information gathering day. So I've kind of given them some instructions that they need to watch, listen, and play. And then I've just curated some books. And what they're going to do is they're going to look through these books and they're going to think about how animals protect themselves. And so with that in mind, they're just going to have a little bit of fun and explore. I think sometimes, especially in an online environment, we don't just let them go. We feel like we need to have it very structured, but through this, we can give them some of that freedom and flexibility. Return home. And on Friday, it's more of a culminating, but still continuing that animals protect. So they're going to listen and play this audio message here. All right, boys and girls, and you can hear it there. And then they can click on some book resources and some video resources to continue to learn about how animals protect. And so they're going to use this information just to continue to build their foundation for how animals protect themselves. And on this one, it's going to be the kind of culminating assessment. It's going to be a post assessment. And students are going to participate in a discussion board forum about how animals protect, why do you think that they protect themselves that way, and what animal they saw that characteristic in. They see down here that they can draw, record a video, or type a response, and that they have a rubric expectation here. And when they're done, they know to click home. One thing that I realized that I did not have correctly is on Thursday, what should have popped up first was this Jamboard. And it's going to act as a pre-assessment for me to figure out what students already know about how animals protect. That way, if I need to change the resources I've included, or if I need to address some misconceptions immediately, I'll be able to do that. And it's just another tool that they're going to be able to use to collaborate and keep them engaged. Now, once they have gone through all of those modules or all of those lessons in the module, they might have some extra time. So what I've developed is an I'm Finished choice board. And in this video, I just kind of explained to them how to use the choice board and what their options are, and then they can select them down here. So by clicking on some of these images, it will link them to videos and activities, or using some of those visual cues again, they can include those fun things. And in the video, I talk about how they aren't going to submit it right away and they might develop it throughout the week. So it could be an ongoing process and students can make it as interesting or as developed as they want, or they can do just the bare minimum, but it's still stretching their knowledge a little bit more. Overall about the course, I feel pretty good. As I've come through this and talking with you guys, I've noticed that I've got some inconsistencies that I might want to go back and fix. For example, on this choice board, when I say record a video, I've not included my video cue with emojis. And I think that I might also add some visuals on my homepage. That way students know which day specifically they're going to be working on, because I could see students not immediately knowing what that day of the week would be. And so I might want to think about how I could give that cue that's going to be manageable for me, but also informative to them. And so I think that just through even explaining it to you all, you know, there are things that I've noticed don't flow super well, or they could use just a little bit more fine tuning. So I think that it's a good shell of a course that I could take and I could modify for this content and other content. So overall, I feel really good about it. I think that my students would be able to use it. It's very user-friendly. And so I think that through this online course, it really made me think about people who have never seen this course before, and hopefully you will as well. Things I had not thought about needing to include, like making sure students know if you open something in another tab, how to get back to Canvas and the learning. And so it really made me ask myself, would anybody with no instructions for me know how to navigate this? And so I think I'm just a little bit more attuned to those smaller details that really impact the overall functionality of my course. So I think that going forward, I will consider those things to make it the most manageable for myself and for my students.